In this video, I'm about to show you 12 rum brands you need to ditch and why, as well as 5 you should be picking up. For generations, rum has been the spirit of celebration and a staple behind bars across America. But some brands you've trusted for years may be cutting corners with additives and hidden ingredients. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll know exactly which bottles to choose and which ones to leave on the shelf. Number 12, Bacardi 151. Starting off with number 12, Bacardi 151. If you remember seeing Bacardi 151 on liquor store shelves years ago, there's a reason you don't see it anymore. This high-proof rum clocked in at a staggering 151 proof, which translates to 75.6% alcohol by volume. That's not just strong, that's dangerously flammable. In fact, the bottles came with explicit warnings about keeping them away from open flames, and bartenders knew to exercise extreme caution when using it in flaming drinks. Bacardi discontinued this product in 2016, and for good reason. This wasn't a standard rum expression meant for typical consumption or mixing. The atypical alcohol concentration made it a hazard in home bars and commercial establishments alike, with numerous reports of accidents and injuries tied to its use. For older adults who value safety and sensible drinking, Bacardi 151 represented everything wrong with chasing extremes. Rum should be enjoyed and savored, not treated like a dare or a science experiment. While it's no longer available, its legacy serves as a reminder that higher proof doesn't mean better quality, just more risk. Number 11, Rum Chata. Walk into any grocery store or liquor shop, and you'll see Rum Chata positioned alongside the Baileys and Kahlua, promising a sweet, creamy indulgence. The bottle looks inviting with its promises of cinnamon and vanilla flavors, and plenty of people have grabbed it thinking they're buying a fun twist on rum. But here's what you need to know. Rum Chata isn't really rum at all. It's an American cream liqueur that happens to have a rum base. But what dominates the bottle is added dairy cream, sugar, cinnamon, vanilla, and a host of other flavorings. The alcohol content sits at just 13.75% to 15%, which is closer to wine than spirits. For anyone looking for actual rum character, Rum Chata is a massive departure. This is a flavored liqueur designed to taste like horchata, the sweet Mexican rice drink, not a traditional rum you'd use in a proper cocktail. The significant additives and lower alcohol content place it firmly outside the straight rum category. For health-conscious consumers, particularly those watching sugar intake or avoiding dairy, Rum Chata delivers a heavy dose of both. It's marketed as a fun, dessert-like drink, and that's exactly what it is, a liquid dessert masquerading as rum. Number 10, Captain Morgan. When most people think of spiced rum, Captain Morgan is the first name that comes to mind. That pirate on the label has been a fixture at house parties and backyard gatherings for decades. But behind that swashbuckling smile lies a product that prioritizes mass production over genuine craft. Owned by Diageo, one of the largest beverage companies in the world, Captain Morgan relies heavily on added sugars and artificial flavorings to create those familiar vanilla and spice notes. The labels mention these additives only in broad terms, leaving consumers in the dark about exactly what they're drinking. Industry analyses point out that heavy flavor adjustments mask what's actually a fairly neutral-based spirit. For older adults who remember when rum meant rich molasses and barrel character, this approach feels like a betrayal. You're not tasting the Caribbean, you're tasting a laboratory's idea of what rum should be. Number 9, Bacardi Superior. Bacardi is practically synonymous with rum in America. Walk into any bar, and you'll find that distinctive bat logo staring back at you. But what makes Bacardi Superior so clean is also what strips away everything that defines traditional rum. This white rum undergoes heavy charcoal filtration, removing color, flavor, and the natural compounds called congeners that give aged spirits their character. Industry insiders note that Bacardi prioritizes consistency and volume over traditional production methods. Every bottle tastes exactly the same, which sounds good until you realize it also means every bottle tastes like almost nothing. For a spirit that should carry hints of sugarcane and tropical fruit, Bacardi Superior delivers a blank slate. The company has built an empire on erasing flavor rather than celebrating it. Number 8. Malibu. Malibu rum conjures images of sun-soaked beaches and carefree vacations. That coconut flavor in white bottle have made it a go-to for poolside drinks. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Malibu isn't really rum in the traditional sense. It's a coconut-flavored rum liqueur loaded with added sugar to create that sweet, dessert-like taste. Compared to true rum spirits, Malibu contains far more sugar than actual distilled sugarcane. For older adults watching their sugar intake or managing health conditions, that distinction matters. The classification itself tells the story. Real rum should taste like rum, not like a piña colada that's been bottled and watered down. Malibu has carved out a massive market by appealing to people who don't actually like the taste of rum. If you're looking for the real thing, Malibu isn't it. Number 7. Kraken Black Spiced Rum. The Kraken markets itself with gothic mystery, a giant sea monster promising bold flavor and dark intensity. But peel back that dramatic packaging and you find a product that relies almost entirely on additives rather than authentic aging. Kraken gets its dark color and heavy sweetness not from years in oak barrels, but from added caramel coloring and artificial flavorings. The label doesn't disclose exactly which additives are used or in what quantities. Spirit reviewers note that Kraken tastes more like flavored syrup than genuine rum, with artificial sweetness that lingers on the palate. For those who appreciate spirits that earn their character through time and craftsmanship, Kraken feels like a shortcut dressed up in intimidating branding. The sea monster on the bottle is more authentic than the liquid inside. Number 6. Sailor Jerry. Sailor Jerry Spiced Rum carries the name and artwork of Norman Collins, the legendary tattoo artist who became an icon of American naval culture. The bottle promises authenticity and tradition, but the liquid inside doesn't live up to the heritage the label suggests. Sailor Jerry relies heavily on added sweeteners and artificial flavorings to create its signature taste, masking what reviewers describe as a mediocre-based spirit. Independent tastings note that batch consistency is a real problem, with some bottles tasting noticeably different from others. That inconsistency suggests the brand is blending in flavoring agents rather than carefully crafting each batch. For older drinkers who remember when a brand name meant reliable quality, that variability is a red flag. Sailor Jerry has successfully marketed itself as the working-class hero of rum, but it's just another mass-produced spirit cutting corners to keep prices low. Number 5. Ron Rico. Ron Rico is one of those names that's been around so long, it almost feels like part of the furniture in liquor stores. These days, you'll find it on the bottom shelf, priced to move and marketed as a no-frills option. But that bargain price comes with compromises. Ron Rico is produced using column distillation for efficiency and volume rather than character. The aging process is minimal and publicly available. Details about how long the rum actually sits in barrels are frustratingly vague. Industry observers note that production methods and additive practices are poorly documented, leaving consumers in the dark. For older adults who value transparency, that lack of clarity is concerning. Ron Rico tastes like it was rushed out the door to hit a price point, treating rum as a commodity rather than a craft. Number 4. Castillo. Castillo rum occupies that bottom shelf real estate in liquor stores. The kind of bottle you grab when you're mixing punch and don't want to spend much. It's white rum in its most stripped-down form, produced to be as cheap and accessible as possible. This rum is produced primarily for mixing, which is industry code for it doesn't taste good enough to sip on its own. The production process involves minimal aging, often just enough to technically call it rum before it's bottled. What you're left with is a harsh, one-dimensional spirit that burns on the way down. Traditional rum craftsmanship involves careful fermentation, thoughtful distillation, and patient aging to develop complex flavors. Castillo skips most of that journey, delivering a product designed for price competitiveness rather than quality. This is bottom shelf for a reason. Number 3. Admiral Nelson. Admiral Nelson Spiced Rum is positioned as the budget-friendly alternative to Captain Morgan. The label features a cartoonish naval figure and promises bold spice flavor at a price that undercuts the competition. But what you save at the register, you lose in quality and transparency. Admiral Nelson relies heavily on added flavorings and caramel coloring to create its taste and appearance. These additives do the heavy lifting because the base rum underneath isn't strong enough to stand on its own. Industry reviews consistently note that Admiral Nelson tastes artificial, with a syrupy sweetness that overwhelms any actual rum character. The brand offers almost no transparency about the quality of the rum used or where it's sourced. For older adults who remember when brand names meant something, Admiral Nelson represents everything wrong with modern budget spirits. Number 2, Don Q Cristal. Don Q is a Puerto Rican rum brand that's been around for decades. Don Q Cristal, their white rum expression, is still found in many liquor stores, particularly in regions with large Hispanic populations. But this isn't traditional rum. Don Q Cristal undergoes heavy filtration designed to strip away color, flavor, and most natural compounds that develop during fermentation and distillation. The goal is to create an exceptionally clean, neutral spirit, but the result is a rum that tastes more like vodka than anything from sugarcane. Industry commentators cite Don Q Cristal as one of the most neutral and additive-adjusted rums on the market, valued for consistency but criticized for lacking any real character. It's engineered for people who want the alcohol without the flavor, which defeats the entire purpose of choosing rum over any other clear spirit. Number 1, Calico Jack. Calico Jack is one of those brands you'll spot in the flavored rum section, usually positioned near the Malibu and other sweet, tropical flavored options. The label plays up pirate imagery and promises fun, fruity drinks, but like so many flavored rums, Calico Jack delivers more sugar and artificial flavoring than actual rum character. These products are loaded with sweetness to appeal to casual drinkers who don't enjoy the taste of real spirits. Compared to straight rum, Calico Jack's flavored expressions contain drastically higher sugar content, turning what should be a distilled spirit into something closer to a liqueur. Production methods and sourcing of flavorings are poorly disclosed, leaving consumers with no real understanding of what they're drinking beyond the fruit flavors on the label. For health-conscious adults, particularly those managing blood sugar, these flavored rums can be surprisingly problematic. The sweetness masks how much you're actually consuming, making it easy to drink more than intended. But here's the good news. Not every rum brand has abandoned quality and transparency. There are distilleries out there still doing it right, still honoring traditional methods, and still putting the liquid before the marketing. These are the brands that deserve your attention and your money. 5 safest rum brands. You need to switch. Number 5, Appleton Estate. When you pick up a bottle of Appleton Estate, you're holding rum from one of Jamaica's oldest and most respected distilleries. Appleton Estate rum is distilled, aged, and bottled right there in Jamaica, in the Nassau Valley, where the tradition of rum making runs deep. What sets Appleton apart is transparency. Their bottles carry clear age statements, so you know exactly how long that rum spent in oak barrels developing flavor. They use a combination of traditional pot stills and modern column stills, blending the rich, funky character of pot-distilled rum with the smoothness of column distillation. And here's what matters most. Appleton's core rums contain no added sugar. The sweetness you taste comes naturally from the aging process and quality sugarcane, not from additives pumped in at the end. Independent reviews and industry documentation confirm that Appleton Estate delivers authentic Jamaican rum without shortcuts. For older adults who appreciate honesty in their spirits, Appleton represents everything rum should be. Number 4, Mount Gay. If you want to drink rum with real history, Mount Gay is where you start. This is one of the oldest rum producers in the world, with roots stretching back to the late 1600s in Barbados. That's documented heritage you can taste in every bottle. Mount Gay has built its reputation on transparent aging and traditional blending practices, creating rums that balance complexity with approachability. Their core expressions rely on time spent in oak barrels to develop character. You'll find notes of vanilla, caramel, and warm spice that come from the wood and aging process, not from additives or artificial flavorings. Industry experts consistently praise Mount Gay for maintaining quality and authenticity, even as other brands race to the bottom. The company openly discusses their production methods and the care that goes into blending each batch. For consumers tired of guessing what's actually in their bottle, that transparency is refreshing. Number 3, Rum Barbancourt. Rum Barbancourt comes from Haiti, and it stands apart from almost every other rum on this list for one crucial reason. It's made from fresh sugarcane juice rather than molasses. That distinction matters because sugarcane juice gives the rum a different character entirely, with brighter, more vegetal notes and a unique terroir you won't find in molasses-based spirits. Barbancourt has been producing rum this way for generations, using traditional methods that have been documented and celebrated by spirit experts worldwide. Their aging classifications are clear and honest, with each bottle telling you exactly how long the rum has matured. Independent reviews consistently note that Barbancourt uses minimal additives, letting the natural flavors of the sugarcane and oak barrels do the work. For older adults seeking something authentic and different from mass-market options, Rum Barbancourt offers a window into how rum can taste when it's made with care and respect for tradition. This is rum meant to be savored and appreciated. Number 2, Santa Teresa. Venezuela has a long and proud tradition of rum production, and Santa Teresa is one of the country's finest exports. This distillery uses the Solera aging process, a method borrowed from sherry production that involves blending rums of different ages to create consistency and complexity. The result is a rum that tastes richer and more layered than its age statement might suggest. What makes Santa Teresa trustworthy is their detailed disclosure about how that Solera process works. They don't hide behind vague marketing language. They explain the aging, the blending, and the care that goes into each bottling. Industry reviewers have consistently verified that Santa Teresa delivers quality without added sweetening, letting the natural sugars from the aging process provide all the sweetness you need. For consumers concerned about transparency, Santa Teresa represents the kind of brand that respects its customers enough to tell them the truth. The price point is higher than bottom-shelf options, but what you're paying for is genuine craftsmanship. Number 1, Foursquare. If there's one rum brand that has become the gold standard for transparency and quality, it's Foursquare. This Barbados distillery has earned a cult following among rum enthusiasts for one simple reason: they refuse to compromise. Foursquare prints "no added sugar" directly on their labels, a bold statement that most rum producers won't make because they can't back it up. But Foursquare can, and independent testing has repeatedly verified their claims. The distillery is run by Richard Seal, a master blender who has become a vocal advocate for honesty in rum production. He's called out other brands for their use of additives and pushed for greater transparency across the industry. Their rums are distilled using traditional pot and column stills, aged in Barbados' tropical climate, and bottled without any doctoring or flavor adjustments. What you taste is what came out of the barrel. Third-party reviews and industry verification back up everything Foursquare claims, making them one of the most trusted names in rum. For older adults who have seen too many brands betray their trust over the years, Foursquare is proof that integrity still exists. So there you have it, 12 rum brands that rely on shortcuts, additives, and marketing over substance, and 5 that still honor the craft of making real rum. The next time you're standing in the liquor store aisle, you'll know which bottles deserve your money and which ones are just pretty labels hiding disappointing liquid. Choose wisely, drink thoughtfully, and remember that quality always beats hype.